Hello and welcome to the Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP for the final time in 2020. We're at Suzuka and that could mean only one thing. The season finale is upon us and this legendary Japanese circuit will be the championship decider once again. My name is of course Justin Sutton and I'm thrilled to say one more time this year that I am joined by Chris Buxton.
I am as thrilled as you to be at your side once again, Justin, and where else could we see out the season but here at the beautiful Suzuka? That's how the Drivers' Championship stands. Kovacic ahead of Vizi, 250 to 194. Lots of battling going on. Stefanko, Prachada, Pastor, and second Prachada brother, all in a very tight battle for the top end of the midfield. Again, the bottom end of the field, although a little bit more spaced out from last time, is still very heavily contested. Korny, Rigel, Horror, Kovacic, all in a battle for the top honours of the tail end of the mid-pack. Sikora, Stepanovsky, Kovacic, Blazek, who has been replaced this time around, and Korny also in the mixture.
In the team's championship, it is Benzina with that huge points lead, 51 points ahead of Logitech. So looking like they are going to be the champions this season. With Thrustmaster not that far behind, only 33 points down to Thrustmaster in third position. Getting solid results from both of their drivers did them well in the team's championship.
Right then, so Kovacic will be champion if... we'll come on to that in a bit. So he'll become champion if his car has at least 50% race distance and if the Logitech car retires and Vizi does not win. So the pressure is on the Benzina team, or Erik Vizi particularly, to win the race. So yeah, the car just simply has to finish ideally ahead of the Benzina team to bring home the championship. But as last week rather proved, anything can happen. Nothing is, nothing can be left to chance, and the team races have not gone Logitech's way.
Exactly right. And then we've got Kovacic as well filling in for the final race once again. He'll be taking over in that mogul car. 35 starts, 302 points career, 3 podiums with a career best of third. And honestly, one of the drivers of the day last time out. Fantastic result from him. We're excited to see what he can do here at Suzuka.
Indeed, he takes over Blazek's spot. And the second driver change we have got is Andrej Kovacic. So hopefully we're getting your name correct, sir. A newcomer to VGP, and what a track to make your debut on. Goodness me, a professional ice hockey player in the Czech Republic. So a sportsman through and through, very accustomed to iRacing. He's an iRacing veteran. So really, I am keeping a very firm eye on the Logitech stand-in. Here we are then, it is Suzuka in Japan, right in the height of the day, 5.7 kilometers, 3.5 miles of this wonderful, almost figure of 8 track. It is absolutely idyllic conditions, 26 degrees track temperature. If anything, they would want it a little bit warmer than that, air temperature 23, so there's nothing that's going to cause them too much of a problem there at all.
In qualifying, Erik Vizi starts from pole position, exactly what he needs, with Daniel Pastor actually joining him on the front row of the grid in the Lenovo Legion, but almost 3.5 tenths slower, actually. Martin Kostulik in 5th position alongside Thomas Hore. Jan Sikora up in 7th position after a fantastic result last time out. He's joined on the 4th row by Thomas Korny, and we can see the Logitech car actually bringing up the rear, behind the mogul car even. So Karl Bashko will be happy about that, but not Simon Kovacic. Certainly, that is not what he would have wanted as we prepare to go racing for the final time here in the Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP during this 2020 season. One of the best seasons, if not the best season, of VGP we have ever had, and we're going racing for the final time. Looks like a good amount of wheel spin. Oh, it looks like going up the middle there, but it looks like a good start away for the Benzina car, but lots of battling going on in the background there. The Legion car looks like is going to hold on to that second place position as they make their way through the first couple of corners. The Thrustmaster car defending the inside line as they make their way now side by side. Oh, there's contact in the back there. That's the E-Set car picking up a little bit of minor damage. You can see the Logitech car as well, only just now coming through turn 2. Heavy damage onto the rear wing as well on that E-Set car. I think the Big Shot car might have been involved in that, but with less damage being sustained. I think I see some front wing damage on the Big Shot, and there's the E-Set car. Yep, just struggling through that S section. Probably a lack of downforce causing some problems for Thomas Corney. He's off into the gravel. Got to get going once again, but we still have 59 minutes of racing here, Chris.
Oh, Jan Sikora, hasn't he come good in this? I could not have timed that commentator curse any better. Going into the hairpin sideways in a Dallara. Very nicely done. But hasn't he come good in this part of the season? But Kovacic not getting the qualifying time in. Neither Logitech drivers getting a good qualifying run in. He is down in 9th. Huge championship connotations going on there because Erik Vizi is in his element. I think this is the first time we haven't had a Logitech car on the front row. And not only that, they were at the back. So massive, massive uphill task for the Logitech car. As Erik Vizi brings his car into, oops, a bit of a lockup coming into the Casio Triangle for the first time in anger. Daniel Pastor doing very well in second. Kovacic in the TP Link car with that absolutely storming start through the middle of the pack to get up to 3rd place. David Ricciardo for Thrustmaster 4th. Jan Sikora, as I was saying, he has come on so well in the latter half of the season. He was generally struggling at the back of the field for the first half of the season in the GT3 cars and in the first half of the of this phase, the IndyCar phase, as Basco brings in the Mogul car. Oh, yeah, that's redesigned somewhat. So what a shame for Basco. Did really, really well last time out. Alas, in the pit after the first lap. He hasn't fulfilled the 25% that he needs to do in that car either, but with the amount of damage, I wonder if it's going to complete 25% of the race over the entire course of it, let alone anything else. But yeah, Jan Sikora doing very, very well. Under a lot of pressure, though, from Senol and from Horror in the Dexter and Big Shot cars, respectively, as they come into the hairpin again. But wow, Kovacic in the Logitech car, tangling with Thomas Corney. Well, I mean, did I not say that anything could happen? And Erik Vizi he's still under pressure from Daniel Pastor, but there's a long way to go. But already the form book has been completely, oh no, it's been ditched as Senol in the Dextrin car has gone for a spin. It's surprisingly easy to do. These Indy cars, whilst they do have a fair amount of downforce, you still want to have a balance of high grip to high speed. And if you've got a lower downforce setup here at Suzuka, yeah, sure, it will serve you well in certain parts, but that's the payoff, isn't it? Is that, you know, the tail just getting loose like that is the danger that you face.
Yeah, they don't have all the grip in the world, no doubt about it. And iRacing, again, we've talked about this over the course of the season, is a very different sort of beast compared to what the drivers were doing previously with the Assetto Corsa and stuff. So, yeah, it's been a year of learning for a lot of people. I'm sure some of these drivers would have had some experience in iRacing, you know, coming into the season. That would have given them a little bit of an extra boost. Just to help their confidence, certainly at the very least. And we know how important confidence is to racing drivers. We know how crucial that is. So very important, and yeah, it's proving to be a difficult circuit for these guys out there. They're having a hard time, but it is great to see them getting sideways in the country that invented drifting. We are seeing quite a bit of sideways action between Senol and Sikora as well. Sikora losing the back end, actually under braking into that turn 11 hairpin. I do wonder if we'll see the Kamui Kobayashi special at any point where somebody just sends one up the inside of that turn 11 hairpin. It is one of the better overtaking locations at this circuit. Casio Triangle, probably the best out of all of them. I gotta say though, Sikora actually closing back up to Pachada. It really did seem like he was coming under attack from the Dexfin and the Big Shot cars, but ever since the Dexfin got a little bit loose there, Sikora's closed that gap down to David Pachada, who is currently behind the wheel of that Thrustmaster car. Again, doing well in the championship, are they? And here's that replay. This is what happened with the E-Set car going side by side with the Big Shot car. That's through turn 2. Just losing the back end, gets collected by the mogul car, who was really just a passenger in that whole thing. And then again, we saw Corny go off the road into the gravel in the S's as well. That would have likely just been due to some sort of mechanical or aerodynamic damage, changing the handling characteristics of the car, just making things a little bit more difficult. We could see the mogul car still in the pits with that heavy front end damage after that incident. Thomas Corny in the ESAC car still in the pits as well. So unfortunately, yeah, that's not the greatest way to start the race. We do hope to see them back out on circuit at some point, though.
And there they are, just brewing the early mistakes, and that's just the nature of close quarters racing. As I think that was Carney that was coming back underway, and that's secret ahead of David Pritchard. It's a shame we didn't see the move. Hopefully we'll see a replay of that. Pritchard has made a mistake because now the big shot car is right involved, and there was a 1.5 2-second gap between Sikora and Thomas Hora in the big shot car. But now, as you can quite clearly see, the Thrustmaster car is under a lot of pressure. So could we see Jan Sikora or the Otis Golonov car on the podium? Wouldn't that be an incredible turnaround for a team that has been was early part of the season, was basically fighting for wooden spoon avoidance with the mogul team at the tail end of the field, although David Pritchard has something to say about that. On the outside of Cassie Track, you can do it, but you need to be much further alongside your opponent to do a side-by-side in the Cassie Triangle, but that has thrown him right into the clutches of the big shot car now, as Daniel Pastor gets the fastest lap of the race. And there goes, that should be, oh, no, I was going to say this should be a fairly straightforward manoeuvre, but the Thrustmaster car hanging on as best he can. Oh, yeah, he hung on really well, and that was a great side-by-side manoeuvre, but David Pritchard down to 6th position now. How you don't often see the Thrustmaster pair struggling as much as they are, but some drivers just don't adapt well to certain tracks. There are some places that are just bogey tracks for some people. And this one could well be one that doesn't suit David Pritchard. We'll see his brother Lucas in the car a little bit later on. As a reminder, before the driver swap happens, the driver must have served 25% of the race distance. They can swap more than once if they so wish, but generally you won't see that happen. So this will be where the mistake from David Pritchard has happened. Oh, the second Lesmo, he's locked up, and Jan Sikora is like, thank you very much, I'll have some of this, and cruises through into 4th position. And again, that was really well caught by David Pritchard to not just spin. But the lead battle is still going on. Daniel Pastor, we saw him getting the fastest lap earlier on. He's still keeping Erik Vizi honest. So Vizi maintains that 0.8 of a second gap. It's been around that kind of, it's been around that kind of level all race long. But again, look at the fastest laps at the bottom of the screen. Pastor was a few tenths quicker than Vizi last time around, about 3 tenths or so. As Jan Sikora under pressure again into the Casio Triangle, but yet again, oh! Well, that rather resolved what I was about to say. I was about to say that's thrown the big shot car into the clutches of David Pritchard, exactly the reverse of what we had last time around. But sadly, just one little mistake has thrown Thomas Hora down into 7th position for the big shot car. That's given 6th position to the Dextrin team. Senol in that one on board with Daniel Pastor as he weaves his way through the S's, keeping Erik Vizi honest, and that's now down to 4 tenths of a second. So battle for the lead going on. What this holds for the championship, though, I would still think Benzina ORLEN need to win it. But again, who knows? We're seeing the very best make small mistakes here. Nothing is concluded yet.
Certainly not. And I'll tell you who is having a very quiet yet successful race right now is Kovacic in 3rd in that TP Link car. About 2 seconds, just over 2 seconds. Oh no. Oh no. I have gone and jinxed that in the worst possible way. I have never experienced a jinx as bad as that one. That's about as bad as it gets. I hope we're going to get a replay of that. I mean, I was mid-sentence saying how good Kovacic was doing, and then he's in the wall, just in the wall, buried in the wall at the exit of the hairpin on the left-hand side as they're heading down towards Spoon Curve. I'm going to assume he had no cars near him, so that had to have been a mistake. That must have just, he must have just spun it getting on the throttle, because, of course, you are very slow coming out of that hairpin. But, yeah, he must have just lit up the rears and just sent it into a barrier. Oh, that is really unfortunate, because, yeah, third place finish for TP Link and Kovacic would have been absolutely huge. That would have been absolutely huge. And that is really unfortunate. But we do still have, and this is really interesting. This is really interesting. We do still have this battle for the lead. Kovacic is into the pits, by the way. Has obviously picked up enough damage to warrant a trip into the pits. And we are going to get a replay so we can see exactly what happened. Here he is, coming into that turn 11 hairpin. Taking a nice line, just getting on the throttle. Yep, back end steps out. Oh, and I think he just clipped the front wing on that Armco there, just before it turns into a tire wall. And I think he's actually lost half of his front wing. And I think that's going to be a pretty lengthy repair time for TP Link, which I think is unfortunately going to throw away a podium right at the end too, and it's so unfortunate because, yeah, he was driving really well. He was only a couple seconds off the leading pair, but he was a couple seconds ahead of Sikora and Pachata and that battle, and yeah, it was looking very comfortable, and then just like that. And that's exactly what you were saying before I took over, which is you never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely. You've got to bear in mind that these things have a lot of horses under the right foot, so it's really, really easy to spin at the rear wheels. As we see David Pachata, he wants that spot back from Jan Sikora. Jan is not having anything of it. Great side-by-side. The Casio triangle. Oh, no, impact between the two. Oh, that was a shame. There's just a tiny bit of understeer from the Thrustmaster car. Let's hope that that hasn't damaged the Autoscolo Node car. I can't see anything obvious on the front wing. You do tend to see if it's dented or anything like that. Let's hope that if there is damage, it's very, very minor. And there is the championship prediction as it currently stands. So it's not yet in the hands of Erik Vizi. The Logitech car has to retire. It cannot score points, basically. So but even still, you know, we can't really predict anything. One tiny mistake is all it takes, as I've said before, and we've seen how easy those mistakes are. There is the Logitech car. It's still in the hands of Kovacic. That driver change hasn't happened yet. He hasn't been in the pits as yet, so he's still probably carrying a little bit of damage from the early scuffles that car has been in. It looks okay, admittedly, so he may have gotten away without any particular damage, but the spin early on sending him quite some distance away. And unfortunately, he's been losing pace on Erik Vizi, whose pace has been storming. Let's not take that away. Erik Vizi has he started well and has gotten better, hasn't he? Newcomer to the series and has really made the establishment work for it. Really, really pleased with how well Erik Vizi has done, and all of our competitors, you know, top to bottom, you know, first to last, they've all done brilliantly well in this series that has been very, very trying. Let's not take that away from them, as Jan Sikora is losing a little bit of ground now on David Pachata, although the Thrustmaster car locks up coming into the Casio triangle. Yep, there is damage on the front of that wing. It is not quite straight. And here is a circuit that really requires its downforce. So that is going to hurt a little bit. Hopefully that's not going to need too much time in the pits, but it's going to be more than Autoscolo and I want to do. But again, big shout out to Jan Sikora. His improvement in the latter half of the season has been meteoric. As Senol is chasing in the Dextrin car, trying to recover from that early mistake. He's closing in as best he can on the Autoscolo Node car. It's here really where he'll be struggling. That front end just will not want to behave itself. And Jan is going to have to get out of the throttle much more than he wants to. Losing time hand over fist. Very near where the pit window is going to begin. About 45 minutes is where that will begin, where 25% of the race has been completed. And still, Daniel Pastor just keeping his eyes very much on the tail of that Benzina ORLEN car. You can see by the last laps at the bottom of the screen that Lenovo Legion car, Daniel Pastor, was a couple of tenths quicker than Erik Vizi, and it's been that kind of nip and tuck all race long. One's quicker than the other one lap, pretty much the other way around the next. And it's only by a couple of tenths. We're not seeing any major gains. And whilst they're still doing this, toing and froing up front, they are pulling away from everyone else at quite an alarming rate. Most people are having their own incidents that's helping Erik Vizi and Daniel Pastor run away, but even still, they've been extending that gap pretty consistently all race long, and I really doubt that Erik Vizi is trying to help the Lenovo Legion car, so that's not by design, as there is... oh, that's a mistake. He's fallen off the back of Senol is Thomas Horner, I think. Oh no, we saw that mistake earlier on, didn't we? So he's got a few seconds to make up. About 6 seconds thereabouts between himself and the Dextrin car for Thomas Horner. But, well, let's see. Oh, there's Thomas Carney in the ESET car following his big incident at the beginning of the race. Well, it's going to be a very long and lonely race for the ESET team. There is Senol in the Dextrin car. Still keeping an eye on Jan Seeger. He's doing a pretty good job with the wounded Autoscolo Nobe car, working their way through the S's, through Dunlop Curve. Again, all the time just losing time on the Thrustmaster car that's now 2 seconds down the road. Bearing in mind that Jan Seeger was ahead of Dave Brichardo at one point. That damage is taking its toll. Oh, no, he's a bit too far back to make a move into the hairpin this time around. But again, great performances from our drivers once again.
Impressive stuff, and you're absolutely right. The gap we're seeing at the front, that's not a pace gap. That is a consistency gap. That is a lack of mistakes is what is allowing that 9-second gap between Pastor and Pichata. We know Pichata, we saw Pichata get very sideways through the second Degner. We know Seeger has had an incident, Sedal's had an incident, Horner's had an incident. You know, so yeah, it's not a pace difference. And in fact, these guys are lapping in the 138s as they both come into the pits. That's very interesting. Slamming on the brakes, a big lockup for Erik Vizi as he comes into the pits with just over 43 minutes still to go in this race. But yeah, you'll notice.
Top 6 in.
Look at that from Hora, a 138 last lap. He's only lapping about 5/10 slower than the leading pair. Maybe even a little less than that on certain laps. So, yeah, it's not a massive pace difference. What we're seeing is the front two are just the cleanest drivers. They're the ones that have been in the fewest number of incidents. And some of that is down to luck, and some of that is down to skill. It's just, you know, always the way racing works. You know, it's always going to have an element of luck and elements of skill. And I will say that pit stop definitely helped Erik Vizi. I don't know if he just attacked the pit lane a little bit more, but look at that. Almost 2 seconds now, the gap between the Benzina and the Lenovo Legion car as they make their way through the S's once again. But yeah, not seeing huge differences in lap times, which is really, really impressive. It's great to see these guys tackling this circuit. Of course, especially for the veterans, they'll be very, very familiar with Suzuka. Despite the fact that this is on iRacing this year compared to previous platforms, but as Kovacic now making his way out of the pits, there's another driver that's having a rather lonely race, isn't he?
He was very slow coming out of the pits, unless that was that camera.
It seems slow, yeah. I don't know if that was perspective or actual speed.
Did he forget to turn his pit lane limiter off?
Maybe.
I have done that, but he looked like he was a long way out of the pit lane for that to be the case. And he's lost a huge amount of time. So there is definite issues going on for Kovacic at the moment. Again, he's got to get further. I think he's still in the correct championship position as far as you know, which way that's going to go, or denying it to Erik Vizi, but that can still swing either direction. But Daniel Pastor doing what he can to close that gap back down. That does look visibly closer now post pit stop. Erik Vizi may well just had a shorter stop than the Lenovo Legion car. We don't see what the actual stop time was, so it's difficult to judge whether he was in the pits for a less period of time. Oh wow, that gap has just disintegrated. Wow. Daniel Pastor is on it. I don't think anyone's actually changed driver. No, it looks like everyone is still on their first driver, so no one's opted for a driver swap just yet. Absolutely fine. They know what strategy they're going to run. It's obviously discussed and practiced before the race takes place. Does look like that Jan Seeger has got that damage on the front of his car fixed. You can't see it from this angle, but when you next get an external shot, you can see that on his right was where the damage was. The front wing was slightly scrunched. That looks like it's been flattened out. So the Autoscolo Nobe mechanics out there with hammers and what's have you, straightening that one out. They did that pretty quickly because he hasn't lost much time, because right ahead, as you can clearly see, is the Dextrin and the Thrustmaster cars. And fair play to Jan Seeger. He could have easily lost his head after the incident, and he hasn't. He's kept himself. Whoops, as he's getting a bit squiggly under braking. So was someone else, as we saw someone's tyre smoke there. But, well, there you go. Look at the... Well, those last lap times are obviously very, very skewed. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if these, you know, these last laps are really, really similar. But Jan Secret has just found more and more pace as the week's gone on. I know we keep going on about it, but look at where he was at the beginning of the season, and even at the beginning of the second half of the season when we first came to these IndyCars, to where he is now. It's absolutely brilliant to see. And you can't say it's just the bad luck of others. That his pace has just really, really improved. But not taking it away from anybody else, certainly not from these two, because they're having a storming race up front. Particularly, again, Erik Vizi, newcomer to the season, the newcomer to the VGP Series this year, and he was a mighty 14 thousandths quicker than Daniel Pastor last time around, a yawning chasm in some instances. But wow, Daniel Pastor, I'm assuming there must have been a mistake from Erik Vizi on that first lap, because Daniel Pastor, he gained it 1.2 seconds after the pit stops happened. Well, sorry, he lost that amount in the pit stops, and then on the outlap he gained it back again. So, and he's clearly not 1.2 seconds quicker than Erik Vizi at this stage. It's going to be interesting when they swap drivers, though.
Yes, actually, that is really when things are going to get spicy, isn't it? Looking forward to that one. Also, I just wanted to bring up, because Vizi's doing everything he can. He's already winning the race. He can try to get fastest lap or not. That actually doesn't really matter, from my understanding. Yeah, I don't think it matters if he actually does get fastest lap. What he needs is for the Logitech not to finish. So, this is one of those situations where the team says, if you want to win the championship, you got to win the race, but also you need some luck on your side. He's doing his part. He needs that luck. Kovacic just needs to finish. Kovacic just needs the luck of, not disconnecting, not crashing, that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit easier for Kovacic. But a battle that we do have is the battle for 4th place overall between David Pichata and Daniel Pastor. And at the moment, and this might change things actually right now, because at the moment, David Pichata would win in that battle against Daniel Pastor. If Daniel Pastor moves up a position, or if David Pichata here loses a position to the next fin car, that changes things.
Oh, I thought Senna was going to go for that then, but he opted not to. You need a lot more overspeed than that to make a turn, make a move work into the first turn. And they have really started to gap Jan Sikora, but we've seen this before. The more they fight, the more they're going to allow that Autoscala car to close back in on them. And, everyone here has made a mistake at some point in this race. That will, of course, make them rethink how they're attacking the circuit. Of course they will, but we'll see. This is not a very forgiving circuit, especially not in these types of cars. These type of open wheelers that have a lot of power, a hell of a lot of torque, many horses trying to get down to the road at the same time. How many people have we seen at the hairpin seems to be the common claiming ground for mistakes as the ESET cars come in again. I wonder if that's going to be for a driver change this time around. We're getting close to the halfway stage of the race. I'd have thought another lap would have been sufficient, but each team, like I say, knows what plan they're going to go to. Senol, with his sights very firmly set on Pichata. He wants that podium, as does the Thrustmaster team. Jan Sikora only 2 seconds behind this battle as well. Don't discount him if the Thrustmaster and Dexfin cars come to blows. And again, there was no real gain from Senol there, was there? And unless he's just biding his time, waiting for an opportunity, or perhaps waiting for the driver changeover. That'd be interesting. He doesn't seem to be gaining an awful lot on Pichata unless they're both using push to pass at the same time. Although, great bit of slipstream, maybe push to pass going on here. We don't see when the push to pass is being used. And again, Pichata feeling the need to defend that inside line coming into the first turn. Yeah, that was more a case of reminding, Senol reminded Pichata he's still there. I don't think he actually intended to even attempt to move that. It's very, very brave or foolish to try and move into the S's. Again, it can be done, but you need a lot more overspeed than that. Wow, great scrap for the last podium spot, but how long will this last for? I hope it's a while, because it's great so far.
Senol's another one who has really kind of come into his own in the later stages of this season. I don't know if he's just a bit of a open wheel specialist, but it really does feel ever since the swap to the single seaters, he's done a little bit better and just performed that little bit better. And I feel like more often we're talking about that Dexfin car and specifically Senol you know, challenging for either the lower podium positions or just outside the podium positions. You know, Senol seems to be in the kind of top 5, but not quite top 3 as often. But he seems to be getting better and better as well, too. It's really impressive to see. You know, and that's something that we get to enjoy with VGP and have done for years and years, is watching these drivers grow and progress and get better and better. Hora, you can see, actually still lapping quite well, 138.744 last time for the big shot car. Still in 6th position, though, but now that gap to Jan Sikra is actually less than 4 seconds. He's gotten that down to about 3.5 seconds as the big shot car, so that could be a potential battle for the future. But at the moment, it's still about this battle for the lead between Erik Vizi and Daniel Pastor. Again, Pastor really wants to pick up that win in order to move himself up a position in the championship standings in that fight against David Pichota. And David Pichota wants to not be overtaken by Senol in the Dexfin car for the exact same reasons. Doesn't want to be overtaken. So, yeah, those are the 2 battles at the moment, but both battles involve the same championship battle. And it's interesting how that's ended up working out. But yeah, here we are, just under 34 minutes still to go in this race, and Erik Vizi still doing exactly what he needs to do, actually building that gap. It's now 1.6. I wonder if Daniel Pastor has had a bit of a scruffy lap, maybe a small mistake potentially. They're only 10 seconds up the road from this pair, so they'll be heading down towards 130R, one would expect, just coming out of Spoon and heading down towards the final few corners in the lap. But Senol continuing to apply that pressure. You can see last lap actually 4/10, exactly 4/10 of a lap quicker than the Thrustmaster. Or excuse me, the Thrustmaster was faster than the Dexfin. So big gap between the 2 of them, but they are very close on track. And again, we've got Hora versus Sikra, I think, is likely to happen pretty soon here as well.
Yeah, it does look like Jan Sikra hasn't been able to recapture that early race pace that we saw. Perhaps he's carrying damage that we can't see, or knock of confidence, whatever it is. You can see the gap there. That's what was about 4-ish seconds, near enough. That's what it looks like in these cars on this track. Oh, another lockup from Pichota. He's really feeling the pressure, isn't he? We're seeing lockups in the major braking zones of that Thrustmaster car fairly consistently. So that's the result of Senol just keep applying that pressure as Kostalik in the TP Link car is in again. Will that be a driver change, as we are almost at the halfway stage of this race? I wouldn't be surprised if it was at this stage. So yeah, as you said before, Senol is a driver that has seen consistent improvement. He's been knocking on the door. I don't think he's got a podium yet, but he's been right there, hasn't he? He's done a few fourths in the latter half of this season in particular. And he's been really close. He's just about missed out on the podium. A mistake here or there, perhaps, but there is Kovacic in the Logitech car that has struggled.
First driver swap?
Has it been? Yes, Matejo in the TP Link car has taken over that one, so I would expect everyone else to flood in. As that gap up front has suddenly dropped down, so I think Erik has made a small mistake somewhere. But yes, Senol, wouldn't it, again, that would be another one, just a nice, one of these kind of nice stories. Again, another lockup from the Thrustmaster car. Daniel Pastor claiming that, improving on the fastest lap in the Lenovo Legion car. So it may have been a small mistake from Vizi and also Daniel Pastor thinking, right, I'm going to be a bit more heavy on the right foot here to try and close that one in. But yeah, it would be nice to see, well, it's nice to see any of them on the podium, quite frankly, because they've all worked very, very hard for this series. But yeah, Senol's just been so close so many times. You're like, come on, just let them have one. I know it's the team race, so they both drivers drive the cars, but even still, just one. Just let him have one. The Thrustmaster car's been there already, many times actually in the season. Just let them have one. It doesn't work like that, I know it doesn't, but we commentators, we have our little favours, we have our little moments like this. We remain impartial as best we can, but we have our little cheering moments, and I define anybody that says that they don't.
Right, I think as we're fans first, commentators second. Yep. And if you're not getting excited and passionate about the drivers, then you're not going to be an effective commentator because
you're in the wrong job. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think it's it's only right to feel those. We keep it measured though. We don't go overboard with any sort of preferences or anything like that. And we do tend to be vocal about them. We don't try to hide them either. So we're pretty open about the whole thing. But still, in this battle,
look at the lap times between Buxton and Senol.
Right. Yeah. What is that? That is 16,000. Yeah, 16 thousandths of a second between that pairing. Let's see. They're going to cross the line now. And it's another really close one. It's a couple of tenths this time.
Yeah, Senol made a mistake in the middle of the Casio triangle. Literally, just as I was making that point. The tail got a bit wiggly. I'm surprised no one else has gone for the pits again.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised by that, but yeah, we'll see. Mutasia, wow, that's a big uphill climb for the TP Link car. We saw that have that early incident. But, anything's possible.
Yep. We are into the halfway point of this race. Past the halfway point, excuse me. We're into the second half of the race now. And still have as much racing to go as we have already done. And it's been plenty full of action so far. So things can still happen. There's another lockup for the Thrustmaster. It looked like the Dexfin may have even locked up a little bit in sympathy. They've got the ESET car up ahead, who is a lap down as well. And yeah, indeed, Senol did actually drop off the back a little bit there. I don't think that's purely slipstream that the Thrustmaster picked up there. Potentially, though, that may have been Pichata actually deploying a little bit of push to pass to make the overtake before Spoon on that ESET car and just put a little bit of a gap between himself and the Dexfin. It's not, there's a lot of corners on this circuit, particularly in Sector 1. You're going to be doing a lot of left and right turning in Sector 1. And you do pick up quite a bit of dirty air as well. But if you can break that gap, then you're not going to be giving any sort of slipstream to the car behind. And I think that may have been what David Pichata was doing there. That when you come up to lap traffic, that's a rare opportunity, especially, in this kind of racing when you're not racing like multi-class and stuff. It's a rare opportunity, and he may have tried to capitalize on it, and it looked like another huge lockup. These lockups from the Thrustmaster car they look awesome, to put it in the simplest terms. They look incredible, but they cannot be helping him. On the bright side, though, I do think they are due for a pit stop pretty soon, so he should be able to get rid of those tires pretty soon, and he may even be doing a driver swap with his brother as well.
It's got to happen at some point, and it has to happen with 15 minutes remaining. As mentioned earlier, the minimum each driver must do is 25% of the race, so 15 minutes of this 60-minute race. Oh no! Just as we were saying how well he was doing, Senol has destroyed the Dexfin car. It is, that's not a happy chassis at all. Oh. One wheel up in the air, that is not going to get home. One wheel is just wiggling around up in the air. Oh no, that is the Dexfin car out. Oh no, what a shame for Senol. Just pushing that little bit too hard to try and close in, or keep up at least with the Thrustmaster car of Dave Pichata, and that is the Dexfin car out of the race. That may well just seed it for Kovacic and the Logitech team. We will see. And here we go. In come the drivers for what I suspect is going to be the driver change now, as we see another lockup from David Pichata. He's had enough of this thing. He's going to hand that one over to his brother. Oh, I wonder if that's going to be a penalty. We saw how much those penalties hurt last time around, did we not? The Logitech car was the one that got the pit lane speed penalty. That was on the way out of the pits as well as the one on the way in it, we think. And, here it is again, Stanislav Senol. So he went into Lesmo, okay, but, and there's a big bump. That curb is not flat, and the suspension is utterly ruined, and that sees the end of the Dexfin racing outfit. So Pastor didn't come in, no, he did. So he's actually come out still with his drivers. Same with Jan Sikora. He's kept in the cars now up to second. Oh, we know this man. It's Martin Stefenko. We didn't see him last time out. But here he is to see out the season for Benzina ORLEN, but Jan Seeker has chosen not to change. Lucas Pachada has taken over the Thrustmaster car, along with Stepanovsky in the Big Shot car. I would suspect very much that the Logitech driver is going to change. We'll see when the scoreboard updates. But yeah, curious one. Jan Seeker, but then, you know, if he feels he's got more time to gain by remaining in it, then fair play, he can continue to do so. But he'll be in, he needs to be in within the next 10 minutes. There is Stefanko at the back of the shot, doing what he needs to do to try and close the gap down as much as he can. Well, Jan Seeker has fought Stefanko once or twice in the past, so we'll see how well he does this time.
It's going to be very interesting to see. Pastor, of course, is going to have to come in sometime in the next 9.5 minutes because he can't drive more than 75% of the 1 hour race. So that means he's got to come in again. So it's going to be a rather short stint for Daniel Pastor in that Lenovo Legion car at the lead, in the lead of the race as it is right now. And there is Kovacic in the Logitech taking over in 7th position. Vakulchik taking over in the Dexfin. Thomas Courtney still in the ESET car. Still a lap down after those early struggles, of course. But it is going to be Daniel Pastor is leading the way at the moment. Again, he did come in, but he didn't do a driver swap, which means it was a very, very short stop for the Lenovo Legion. And there is Martin Stefanko in that 3rd place position car, currently behind Jan Seeker. Again, hasn't been into the pits for the driver swap just yet, so that's why Seeker currently running in 2nd position. But there is Daniel Pastor, and there you can see it in the last lap, in case there was any confusion about whether or not he had been into the pits. So that is definitely a I've been into the pits lap time from the Lenovo Legion driver. So yeah, he's definitely going to have to come in again. But I mean, so is Stefanko. The difference is, though, Stefanko won't have to do a driver swap. So when Pastor comes in to do his next stop, it'll be a rather lengthy stop. Whereas when Stefanko comes in, it'll be quite a bit shorter. And depending on how things go, actually, here, this could end up being crucial for the race win and potentially crucial for that 4th place battle in the Drivers' Championship as well with Pachada and Pastor. So Stefanko getting held up here by Seeker could potentially swing that battle for 4th in the Drivers' Championship one way or the other come the end of this race.
Yeah, so the Dexwin car did actually come back out. I was surprised, considering that it would have to have been recovered back to the pits. You know, the Dexwin car has actually come back out with Vakulchik at the helm. And it's a shame we haven't seen the Mogul car come back out. Oh, side by side in the 130R. Very nice. I love it. These things do have enough downforce to do it, and both drivers doing brilliantly well to not just pile into each other. Well done to Stefanko and Seeker for that one. Very nice overtake there. But yeah, I think to keep you know, to keep the championship hopes alive, you know, Stefanko needed to get it done. And yeah, this is the first time we've seen Kovacic come out for the Logitech team, but there's no real pressure on him. All he has to do is bring it home. It doesn't matter where it is, as long as it sees the checkered flag, his task will be done for the day. So he's not under immediate pressure to try and improve a position or defend a position or anything like that. He just needs to see the checkered flag. However, you know, that's certainly easier said than done. Yeah, Daniel Pastor is 20 seconds to the good now. So we'll see if he's able to hang on to that one before the Lenovo Legion car swaps hands. And Seeker. You saw that bit. We saw a bit of a wiggle from Jan on the last lap, pretty much here on the way down to the hairpin. I'm assuming he's just not very happy with his tyres, or he was maybe indicating to Stefanko, "Yeah, I'm not really gonna fight you too much, but I'm not gonna make it easy for you," because it took all the way down here to 130R. Well, sorry, after Spoon. Down to 130R for that position to change hands as we see Stepanovsky in the big shot car. The field fairly spread out now as far as on-track battles are concerned, although Stefanko doing what he can to reduce that lead that Pastor has in the Lenovo car, but that's fairly moot as the Legion car still has to have its driver swap, which necessitates a longer pit stop anyway. But yeah, that's going to be a fair result for the big shot car, nicely in the middle of the field. So fair play to them. Again, they've had their own struggles through the season. But we'll see. 20.5 minutes to go. And still the championship to be decided. We'll see how well our drivers do in the remaining third of the race.
Stepanovsky currently driving that big shot car in the top half of the field. The Dexfin with Vakulchik now down into the lower half. But of course, they both had driver swaps already, and that would have lost them a little bit of time, of course. But yeah, Vakulchik actually following a lap down in that Dexfin car. But that Dexfin car is still going, which is really the amazing part, actually. Still, so far, the only retirement that we've had is that mogul car, and really that was just a racing incident. You know, nowhere to go. Car ahead, back end stepped out, and yeah, just plowed straight into it. Did Carl Bashko, and again, that was hot off the heels of that incredible result last time out. Again, I'm going to be talking about that. You know, I'm going to be talking about that until I'm an old man. That drive from Bashko was truly incredible. One of those great examples of seeing experience coming into play. You know, just you know, maybe not being up to snuff when it comes to practice and all of that kind of stuff. But, you know, just purely through experience and knowing how to handle himself in a race situation, was able to score quite well, which was fantastic to see. Now, here's something I didn't expect to see here, Chris, which is Jan Sikora closing back up on Martin Stefanko. Oh, no! Oh, wow. I have to say, we have seen some incredible incidents here at Suzuka. I mean, that is just fantastic to see. I mean, you hate to see it. I mean, I don't want to see anybody spin out like that, but boy, that is entertainment, I will tell you, to see a car just spear off at turn one like that. That is seriously cool to watch, and yeah, it's been really interesting to see the incidents that we've had at Suzuka. It's such an interesting one, because it is a punishing circuit. You dip a wheel, you know, just outside those white lines there, and there is nothing but grass and gravel to greet you. And it can be really punishing.
And grief a lot of the time, as that usually spells the end of your car. Stefanko must have made a mistake. He lost about 3 seconds or thereabouts on that last lap. He had that gap between himself and Pastor down to under 19 seconds, and now it suddenly jumped up to over 22. We suddenly saw Jan Sikora in an attacking position and then pirouetting off the track. And well, that car seems to be broadly behaving itself, but it's still not very happy, as Corny in the ESET car is in again. I've lost track on how many times the ESET car has been in. Surely he's handing it over now, because I'm sure he started it. But Stefanko now getting back into his rhythm. Well, there you go. Look at the last laps from Pastor and Stefanko. There's no way that Stefanko is that far behind Pastor. No disrespect to either of them, but you know, Stefanko's a race winner. He's a previous champion, and there we go. He's the first man in the 37s. Rather proves my point. He took a second out of Pastor in that last lap alone. Yep, there we go. The ESET car has now handed over to Siratek, so the driver swap has been fulfilled in that team. Still, most driver swaps still need to take place, so there will be a big flurry of pit stops to happen. Here is the incident with Jan Sikora. As he's in the slipstream, what does he do? He's caught the apex of the first turn way too hard. Oh, you lucky boy! How close was that? That was incredible. I mean, it was all luck, but
so cool.
That was incredible. So I thought he'd hit the wall and the car was not behaving itself, but no, he, by the merest of margins, managed to avoid slamming the Autoscala Nobe car into the wall, which is good, so that hopefully there won't be too much time lost when he does hand that one car over, as we see the TP Link car with Matasia working his way through the S's in 6th position. Driver swap has happened in that car, so he can now continue to make his merry way, hopefully, to the flag. Daniel Pastor from the race lead is in for his driver swap, and would imagine his last stop, or the team's last stop of the day. So expects the Autoscala Nobe car. Actually, it's only Jan Sikora, I've just realised, that needs to come in. Vakulchik's in again, so the Dexfin team's day is getting no better. And the lead hands back over to Martin Stefanko, and it's Pavel Reigl that jumps into the Lenovo Legion car. I would imagine. Yep, there we go. There's the Autoscala Nobe car. Jan Sikora has done, well, he's done a pretty good job of it. Of that major spin aside, he's done a pretty good job in the orange on orange car, so in it comes for his final stop of the day. Pavel Reigl will be back on track. Will he still be in a podium position? This could be good for Stepanovsky in the big shot car. There he goes. He's just gone into a podium position as Pavel Reigl in the Legion car is just coming out of the pits as we see Mateja in the TP Link car. That'll be a short pit stop to see him through to the end of the race, I'd have thought. But might the podium go to Big Shock instead?
I think it's entirely possible. I mean, we're into the final 25% of this race, less than 15 minutes to go. And Stepanovsky looking good in that third place position at the moment. We'll have to see how things go. I think Stepanovsky is a pretty good match for Pavel Reigl and Kovacic as well. So yeah, I mean, I would say Stepanovsky, it's really just going to be about keeping things pointing the right direction.
Oh, no!
And look at that, that's going to be a huge help to Stepanovsky in the big shot cars. Pavel Reigl is spun around. That was at the exit of the second Degner, just before going underneath the tunnel down towards the hairpin. Now he's gotten moving. I don't think he picked up any sort of damage, so that's fantastic. He's going to continue on, and will be. And he's not lost any positions either, but he has lost out on a big opportunity to get a podium here, and I think this is. Yep, this is definitely good news now for David Pichota, who's in that battle with Daniel Pastor. He's 6 points ahead of Pastor, so really, Lenovo Legion needed to finish ahead, a few positions ahead, in order to turn that around at the end. And let's see here. Oh, actually, that incident started at the first Degner and came to an end at the second Degner, so it kind of spanned the both of them all together. So that was an interesting one, but he did keep it out of the barrier, which is, you know, that's job number one.
Yep, he was lucky. That's where the barrier kind of cuts back into the infield, rather. So, if the barrier followed the line of the circuit, he'd have been introduced to it. So, you know, a lucky escape there for Pavel Reigl, but on he goes. But that's cost him, what, 12 seconds? Well, there's now a 12-second gap between himself and Stepanovsky. So, what a result, or potential result for Big Shock, as we have got less than 13 minutes to go. Stefenko leads Lucas Pichota, so Benzina leads Thrustmaster by nearly 20 seconds now. It was the other way around, but of course we had driver, well, that was with Lenovo Legion, who are now down to fourth, with Kovacic in the Autoscola Nobe cars, quite some distance behind the Lenovo Legion, but still looks to be a strong potential finish for Autoscola Nobe. I knew I'd say Kovacic. We've got Kovacic and Kovacic. There's only one letter difference, but how you say it is, of course, very, very different. They're very close together, actually. They're only 0.3 apart at the last time in check. So there's a great scrap for our newcomer in for potential 5th place. Not that he needs to do it. He's doing exactly what he needs to do to seal the deal for Logitech. There is the Thrustmaster car of Lucas Pichota, very much on his own. And there is that battle I've just been alluding to for 5th place. Kovacic and Kovacic. So I need to say it properly because we're not used to saying his name, but welcome to you. What a statement of intent he's making. He's here, and he's really not afraid to put the pressure on the establishment.
Impressive stuff to see. Driving quite well. We did hear that he is very familiar with iRacing, but didn't have a ton of practice coming into this. So what you're seeing here is essentially raw talent rather than preparation. And it's great to see. He's going side by side with the Autoscola Nobe. Is he going to go deep? No, the Autoscola Nobe does make the corner. So continues in 5th position, stays ahead of the Logitech as they get into the braking zone. Looked like he went a little bit defensive there, which just allows the Logitech to close up that little bit. TP Link, not that far in the back either as well. I've just noticed in the timing, it's only 5 seconds down to the TP Link of Mateja, and there goes the Logitech down the start-finish straight, possibly using some push to pass there to get past that Autoscola Nobe. Oh, and then going a little bit deep. Yeah, Kovacic, I think they're picking up a little bit of a slipstream at the end. Should have braked just a little bit sooner than he was used to on previous laps, and just ended up running a little bit deep there, which could potentially put him into the clutches of Mateja. That puts him now less than 4 seconds ahead of Mateja in that TP Link car, and put about 1.5 seconds between himself and the Logitech, which has now moved up into the top 5, which is really impressive because, yeah, it's been a difficult day for Logitech. But I think it's been, for Logitech, I think it's been a day about safety and just getting to the end. You know, let's win this championship. keep the car on the black stuff and make sure we're pointing in the right direction and not making contact with any of those barriers. Because we've seen, as we've seen in this race, there have been some very exciting offs at this circuit. You know, it's such a fast circuit. There's not a lot of slow corners. There are a few here and there. The hairpin, turn 2 is pretty slow. The second half of Spoon can be a little bit on the slower side, I guess. But aside from, and I guess the second Degner, but aside from that, you're going really quick at pretty much every point of this circuit, which means when you touch the grass, you're going to spear off into a barrier and you're going to pick up some sort of damage. But yeah, I got to say, I'm actually really surprised with how few retirements we've had, especially considering the incidents. You know, we have seen a number of incidents, but... was that Kovacic? No, Kovacic?
Yeah,
I think that, yeah, and it looks like that's dropped him from 5th to 7th, which we know that was a tightly fought area. A 1:48 last lap, so yeah, it looks like he lost about 9 or 10 seconds, whatever issue he may have had.
Stefanko coming in for what will be the last stop for the Benzina car. And they're in, I mean, they were in a commanding position for the team title. I think they've already secured it points-wise, but yeah, you still want to maintain that momentum. And he should be able to, he's more than likely going to come out still ahead of the Thrustmaster car. No, never mind, the Thrustmaster car's in as well. So, quick splash and dash for them. There won't be a very long stop going on for those ones. Yeah, bit of a mistake for Kovacic in the Casio triangle, it would seem. That's dropped him down a few positions. That's the Thrustmaster car, I think, that's coming in. Can't see, that's why I can't see Stefanko, he's already come out. Stepanovsky in the big shot car doing the same thing. There's Pavel Reigl. Oops, bit squiggly on the exit of the Casio triangle. He's going to continue. The Lenovo Legion car. Chada's come out. Back out in second position. There he is, the rear view. Can't quite see. You can just about see the vague dot from Prachada's car. That is Pavel Reigl, but not close enough to challenge. There it is. That's about 4.5 seconds down the road, give or take, or 3.5-ish. So, yeah, Pavel Reigl not quite in a position to challenge for second place, but we'll see if he doesn't have to come into the pits again. He may well have just secured that third place, but I think he might need to come into the pits again. So that podium position I don't think is quite so secure just yet, but still 7.5 minutes to go as that's Kovacic in the pits. So there, yeah, that's probably a last minute pit stop that these guys will need to do in the closing stage of the race just to make sure they don't run out of fuel on track. That would be the worst way of making your name known to the VGP in your very first race. Splutter to a stop on the side of the track somewhere.
So in third position, that Lenovo Legion of Pavel Reigl. Mateja now in 5th position. The TP Link moving back into the top 5 actually, as Stepanovsky slips down into 4th position. So let's see, what has this done for that battle for 4th between David Pichata and Daniel Pastor? Nothing. The Thrustmaster is still ahead of the Lenovo Legion, so yeah, no change in terms of that battle is concerned. But Lucas Pichata versus Pavel Reigl could potentially start to be, I don't know, I think Lucas has been a little bit more of a consistently quick driver over the course of the season compared to Pavel Reigl, but let's see what he can do. We've got just under 6.5 minutes still to go in this race, the final race of 2020 in the Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP season, and what a season it has been. But it does look like it is going to be Benzina ORLEN taking the team's championship, and it is going to be Kovacic taking the in the Logitech taking the drivers' championship. And you know, it wasn't close all season, but it did start to tighten up right at the end there, and it definitely made things interesting. It kept everybody honest, which is always great to see as well too. Kovacic was pushed, right to the end, right to this last race. But you know, he just needs to get to the end of this race, and he will become the champion of the 2020 season in VGP, and it'll be his first championship, of course, and very well deserved. I think personally this has been one of the best seasons in terms of how close it's been and the competition level and everything like that, especially from front to back. There's maybe been seasons where we've had better battles for the lead, you know, because Kovacic has been rather dominant at times. There's been times where he has been rather dominant and things were looking rather grim, but that wasn't always the case. And I think all those things combined has really made this into a season that I will never forget, and definitely one of the best, if not the best. But getting right to the end now, and it does look like Lucas Pachada is building a gap now. It's now just over 3 seconds. It's actually tipped over between himself and the Lenovo Legion car. Stepanovsky's a little bit too far back. It's another 9 seconds down to Mateja in the TP Link car in 5th position. Another 10 seconds down to Kovacic in the Autoscola Nobe. Kovacic in the Logitech is another 30 seconds back on that. And then everybody else is either a lap down or not in the running. So we got the top 7 cars still in this race. But here's the man who has been leading the way, at least towards the second half of this race anyway. Martin Stefanko, former champion. He's not going to be a champion this year, it's looking, but he gave it a great shot, and he had some fantastic races this season, didn't he?
Oh, he did, absolutely. I love the fact that, yeah, Kovacic is going to be the drivers' champion without being here. Mm-hmm. You know, yeah, and looking at the stats, he won all 6 of the, well, including the team race, of the GT3 races. All 6 of the first races he has a 1 for. And he's only won 1 since then. So he did all the work in the first half of the season. Maybe he knew or anticipated having more trouble with the IndyCar, but the maths doesn't lie. He did brilliantly well to just maintain what he needed to do. He was second in the first race of the IndyCars, and he has won. He has won 1 of the races. Reminding myself where it was. So he was second at Silverstone, and then has just had difficulty, except for I forgot where it was. the old grey cells are failing me, unfortunately. Belle Isle, was it? No. Oh, it was Austin. Of course, it was Kota that he had. Yeah, of course it was. But yeah, that's the only W he had in the Indy phase. So. But that's really when it became, story of Vizi and Stefanko after that. Yep. Although it has to be, as a reminder, it was actually the Pachada brothers for Thrustmaster, the one at Silverstone, with Kovacic second. But yeah, Benzina ORLEN have won 3 of, and look like they're going to win a 4th of the second half of the season. So it really come good in the Indy phase for Benzina ORLEN, and their consistency is what secured them the top spot in the team's championship. And Kovacic, fair play, and his first round out, he started. Well, it's difficult to kind of judge because I was only seeing him for half a race, or not even that. So, oh dear, that's not how the car's supposed to look. Nope. Mateja's had a problem down at Lesmo. We've seen quite a few. Oh wow, problem front and back. Oh dear, he's probably not going to bother pitting with that. He's going to try and limp that one home from 5th position. Well, that's going to likely give Kovacic in the Autoscola Nobe car 5th position, because there's 11 seconds between them, and you can imagine he's going to be gaining pretty damn quick on the very, very wounded TP Link car, as we see Kovacic in the Logitech car sweep through the ever deadly Degners and continue on his merry way, holding on to 7th position, just what he needs to do to make sure the championship the drivers' championship goes towards Logitech. Here is the issue that Lucas Mateja has had, and it's Degner 2. There we go. We've seen that very incident happen, although it wasn't quite as dramatic for Lucas Mateja as it was for Stanislav Senol in the Dexpin car that made one of his wheels point skywards. But it's another MS at the top of the field. We've had that once or twice in the past. Martin Stefanko is going to be starting the final lap with 35 seconds on the clock. You can't quite just park it and let the checker flag come out, as Lucas Pachada would enjoy that one, I'm sure. But final lap then of this race and of this season, and what a season it has been. And fastest, of course, of course, Martin Stefanko is going to just keep claiming that fastest lap coming down because the fuel load burns off. But, wow. He's still got it, isn't he?
Incredible, incredible. It's great to see Martin Stefanko in VGP, of course. As Mateja had some more problems. Yeah, unsurprisingly, didn't come into the pits because yeah, they would have repaired him. Now, hopefully, he's not going to get the black and orange flag or anything like that. I don't think so. As long as he could just get around. But Mateja, I think, is just about going to hang on to that 6th place position. Now, Kovacic is right behind Stefanko. So as soon as Mateja gets lapped by Stefanko, Kovacic is right behind because, yeah, the Logitech is just behind him on the road, albeit a lap down, which is really interesting and funny to see, by the way. The final race of this 2020 season is going to feature the Benzina ORLEN, a lap ahead, actually, of the Logitech. The 2 cars that won the championship, actually, with the Benzina winning the team championship and the Logitech winning the Drivers' Championship in the hands of Simon Kovacic. So that is, it's just interesting to see them a lap apart for this final lap. And there is actually the TP link of Mateja, who is just going to provide a little bit of a mobile chicane there for Martin Stefanko. But now he's going to be in a hurry to get to the finish so he doesn't get overtaken by the Logitech. But here comes Martin Stefanko for the final time in 2020. He is a race winner at Suzuka. It's not going to be enough for the Drivers' Championship. They've already won the Team's Championship, but Benzina ORLEN are going to be champions in 2020. Lucas Pichata in the Thrustmaster, a team that is so familiar with podiums, so familiar with consistency, going to pick up yet another podium finish here in 2020. It's been a fantastic result for both of the Pichata brothers. Fantastic year for both of the Pichata brothers. And it is going to be a very well-deserved second place finish. It wasn't the cleanest race in the world, but in the end, holding on to that second place, about over 20 seconds behind the Benzina ORLEN, though. And again, that's mainly down to just how clean of a race it was for Erik Vizi and Martin Stefanko. Pavel Reigl in the Lenovo Legion will claim that final podium position, denying Stepanovsky in the Big Shot car, who will finish just outside of the podium positions in 4th place. Still a fantastic result, though, for Big Shot. Autoscola Nobe as well going to be coming home in a very nice 5th position, ahead of TP Link, ahead of Logitech, and Iset, Dexvin, and Mogul in the end, the Mogul car. The only retirement that we had, and this is on board with that Autoscola Nobe car for the final time in this race, going through the Casio Triangle and down towards the final, the start-finish line for the final time in this race.
For the final time of this season, then, it is Stefanko and Erik Vizi for Benzina ORLEN on the top spot. The Pichata brothers for Thrustmaster in 2nd, and Daniel Pastor and Pavel Reigl for Lenovo Legion in 3rd. Big Shock in 4th. Autoscola Nobe in 5th. Great results for them. TP Link has been a lot of barrier introductions for them in 6th position. Logitech done enough to take the Drivers' Championship, as we've mentioned. Iset in 8th, Dexvin 9, and Mogul, sadly, the one retirement we've had, with that stonking lap from Martin Stefanko taking that fastest lap point.
In the championship, Simon Kovacic takes the win. Just 5 points in the end between himself and Erik Vizi, and just another 8 points down to the old veteran Martin Stefanko, who finishes the season in 3rd position. And this is a season where he actually, missed a race. He had a race where he didn't really practice all that much as well, too. But yeah, in the end, Simon Kovacic was the man. And a huge congratulations to him on winning the 2020 Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP Championship. Very well deserved. You can see in the end the 2 moguls bringing up the rear. And it was so tight between the moguls and the Autoscola Nobes and so on and so forth at the back there. But then towards the end, the Autoscola Nobe, Big Shock really just picking it up. There's the gap in the end. Holy cow, look at that gap actually. 84 points between Benzina and Logitech. Just no one could touch that consistency, and only 11 points down to Thrustmaster, actually. So Kovacic did everything he could, but Kujela, with a little bit of disappointment when it comes to his results, just couldn't quite contest with the Benzina ORLEN. Well, that is the 2020 season. It's finally at an end. It's been one of the best, if not the best, that we've seen from the Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP. It's been an absolute pleasure to commentate on these races with Chris, and I want to say a huge thanks to the drivers, the production team, the sponsors, and most of all the viewers for tuning in. We will see you next time. Goodbye.